Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome to SimSpeed TV. Welcome back to the Southern Cross ESports Winter Series for 2023, presented by V8 Drive Day in Perth. We're here at Circuit de Nevers Magny Cours in France for the first time in this series in what should be an absolutely exciting third round of this championship season. Hello everyone, my name is Jay Kennedy and joined once again by Stu Brown. Stu, it's been a little while since we've had a round in this series, but what a track to come to, and the action we've seen so far has been very, very exciting. This track is going to turn on an absolute thrilling show.
Absolutely. We'll have a look at the points in a minute, but 2 points at the top of the championship separating our top two drivers. An absolute stellar racetrack for us to come to tonight to contest this round. Of course, delayed, unfortunately, due to the iRacing gods and some necessary updates that they were running last time around. So we've slotted this round in. We're going to bring 2 weeks in a row to you of this fantastic series. And as you said, Jay, heading to Magny Cours, one of my favourite places to race, particularly in these cars as well. They reward some aggressive driving, and this track will certainly help them, those who want to take it on. 4.4 kilometres in length, 17 corners here, 16 and 17 of particular interest, but plenty of space around this track for aggressive overtaking moves. And I'm looking forward to getting into the 2 races we've got tonight.
I think one of the keys around this track is the width of the circuit is very, very wide, so it does lend itself to plenty of drafting and passing opportunities. Obviously, the best passing spot's pretty obvious, the Adelaide hairpin at turn 5. You get yourself a great run out of turns 2 and 3. You got that huge long straight with the little kink at Golf at turn 4. You can also get a move done at turn 12 and turn 14. Turn 15, 16, 17, as you said, very, very interesting. Got to watch out for the slowdown penalty at turn 16 and 17. If you get too aggressive, you can find yourself getting the iRacing automated gods giving you a little slap on the wrist. Do that on the last lap, though. That's a very big penalty. It's around about 45 seconds added onto your race time if you don't clear that slowdown before the end of the race.
Yeah, absolutely, and we have seen that in some of our broadcasts prior as well where that's happened, but very important, as you say, because 16, 17 set you up basically for the run down into turn 5, as silly as that sounds, but if you haven't been here before, you'll see what we mean. Turn 1 as well, a really wide entry, accentuating exactly what you've spoken about there. So drivers just getting through qualifying as we speak. And we'll have a quick look at the point standing, and as I alluded to at the top of the show, Rick Kuznetsov at the top, 300 points in the 9.5 SimSport entry, just 2 points clear of Ben Brazier, who is sitting there pretty in second, 298 in the Team Racecraft Motorsport. Porsche, once I put my teeth in. Trevor Leonard right behind him, his teammate, with Thiago Massadou as well, putting pressure on him. But Mike Pepper, who had a good run last time out, finishing third overall, Frog Elite Juice Racing entry, 263, putting the pressure on him. So the battle, obviously early in the championship, but the battle after 2 rounds is quite tight at the top. Kyle Ridley still involved, 206, with Simon Mazzomo, Jackson Pringle, Trevor Hearn, and Kurt Rose rounding out our 10 drivers. So it's tight at the top. And of course, for those of you joining us for the first time, 15-minute qualifying. We've got a 20-minute race 1, and then one of the things I love about this one, a 45-minute feature race with the top 12 reverse grid, compulsory pit stop with a compulsory tyre change as well. And the drivers, I don't know, they'll be looking forward to the pit stop here. Although track temp's a little cool at the moment, just 21 degrees as we stand. But it is early in the morning, so we'll see how they choose to take it. What did we work out last time? It takes a couple of laps for the tyres to get up to speed, and we saw as well in the last round that that brought a couple of drivers unstuck.
Yeah, it definitely did. We were thinking, maybe the undercut might be the go, but the tyre strategy has become a bit more important in this car than the previous car we ran in the series, which of course was the GTE version of the car, which in the real world ran with tyre warmers, so the tyre blankets were keeping the tyres a bit warmer. We didn't see that slow pace needed, or slow laps that were coming from the tyres getting up to temperature. But these cars here, no tyre blankets and no tyre warming. And they're rock hard, so while they do have a lot of grip, it does take a lot to get temperature into the tyres to give you that grip. So do your undercut, so then you've got better tyres for longer. Do you overcut and then hope that you've got enough tyre to hold on from those guys coming up behind you. It's a really interesting strategy, so we'll see how it plays out later on. Another change that has happened as well since the last race we have had in this series is that the fuel restriction has been increased. So drivers had a 44% fuel tank restriction. It is now 55% fuel tank restriction, meaning that the strategies now are even more wide open. We've got a bigger strategy window, which I think's a very, very good positive for the series.
Yeah, it's a good change they've made there. So just restricting the fuel tank so that the options available for them for the stop that they're required to make are a little more strategic, shall we say, in the way they get to execute that across the race as well. So Ben Brazier goes fastest so far with about just under 8 minutes to go in qualifying, a 39.7. Just moving Simon Mazzomo out of that top spot, who took that while we were just giving you the rundown there. Notice as well tonight that we've got Marcus Watson missing after his round win last time out as well. So opportunity there for some other drivers to potentially jump up into that top spot. But no surprise at all that Brazier, Mazzomo and Massadou at the moment are the fastest 3, with Leonard there as well. You've sort of got our top 3 or 4 drivers occupying the top 3 or 4 places so far. Having a look at Mike Howlett here. He had a good drive back last time out as well. But unlucky in some early incident, and then managed to make his way back up through the field to have a top 10 finish, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, it's my memory as well, so I think we're both on the same page there.
That's good. That just means I haven't. My dementia hasn't got any worse during the couple of weeks we've had away.
Love how aggressive you have to be over those curbs at the final corner too. You really have to jump the car over the curb. So while it looks like it might be slow, the drivers throw the car over the curbs is the fast way to get around this track. So it does look a little bit deceiving in how that you do tackle this circuit, but trust us, that is the fast way to go, as we're on board with Mike Pepper. This lap looks like it should be an improvement for him based on the sector times. Current best lap of a 141.2. I think he should go into the 1 minute 41s.
And a good example of what you were talking about earlier. Look at the width available on track here. Now we saw, 2, 3 wide, as is often the fashion in this type of racing, as he uses those curbs there as well. to good effect. You can see here how much of the track he's using. So here he's not getting a penalty, he's on track, he's not doing anything wrong. And you can see the width of the entry into turn 1. Really, really important for being able to carry that speed through that corner. And we mentioned that, you know, really setting up this lap starts at the exit of that chicane before you finish and cross the start-finish line. So Mike Hallett just showing us there. Sorry, Mike Pepper, my apologies, showing us there what you need to get done. The other thing as well, Jay, that we must speak about, of course, is what we just saw at the top of the screen there, which is the entry into pit lane at this track.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult pit entry. It's very much like Montreal, Canada, in that it's the braking zone for the corner is the approach point for the pit lane. So there is a chance that someone not paying attention to the cars in front and looking to go into the pit lane could run up the backside of someone else. We possibly will see it. I haven't seen it anywhere near as much as I've seen it at Montreal, but definitely is a possibility. You can be a lot more aggressive into the pit entry than you expect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that's difficult is the exit. So again, you touch on Montreal, similar layout here in terms of you're exiting on the outside of the corner that does move the car naturally wide in the exit of the corner as well. So you've got that issue that you've got to contest with as a driver approaching a driver exiting pit lane, but also when they're on those cold tyres, something that will definitely put them under pressure as they run up towards that turn 5 hairpin of Adelaide to try and get those cars turned in. So tyres, really, not overplaying it here, a very, very critical part in that main feature race that we're going to have to keep a look at. And as usual, Jay, you've done well here. This is the exit to pit lane, so it's a long exit, but you can just see the car naturally pushes out wide, the car on the racing line, and you've got to try and get the car out of pit lane into the apex of the corner for the run out down towards turn 5. So with no tyre temperature at all against the car that is quicker, that undercut strategy that we saw executed nearly perfectly last week will come into play, no doubt, at all in that feature race.
I'm in Mazomo, currently sitting second in practice. He is looking to get himself up towards the pointy end. He's had great pace in both of our rounds run so far, but just has not had the good luck going his way. The only luck he's had has been bad. Had bad fortunes, bad luck, and caught out a little bit by the rules around the fuel restriction. But I think he'll be looking to get a bit of a positive spin on the season and push himself forward. Be looking to start from pole if he can. This lap does look very, very good though. Current best of a 139.8. I think he might be about to put it on the P1, and he is.
Yeah, he does well there. He got a little bit loose. Yeah, I was going to say he got a little bit loose on the exit there and copped the grass. So, and unfortunately did cop a penalty there for going off track. So that luck you speak of continues a little bit. But the thing with Simon is he'll keep putting the car in the right places, and eventually the luck will turn for a capable driver in these cars. So we'll see if that change is dawning for him this evening.
Let's get a quick look at this pit entry as well. We were just talking about it. This is Jonathan Akers, who just came in. So that's the braking and turning point. But you can keep your speed up. You don't have to stop till 60, till just there at that yellow cone. So if you haven't practiced the pit entry, you can get yourself caught out a little bit with how much speed you can carry into that corner, as Michael Howlett just runs a little bit wide. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get another lap in. He's going to be very, very close. Coming past him there is Kyle Ridley, about to finish what looks like he will be his final lap of this session.
Keeping an eye on what he's going to do time-wise. Can he get through the chicane well there? Gets the exit nailed. And does improve.
Harry Dodds also improved there up into P7. Nice lap from him. TJ is on a decent lap at the moment. That's his best there on screen, a 142.2. See what he can do.
A couple of different entry or exit lines as well. I should just say lines for the drive out of Adelaide, you'll see some drivers will leave it late, turn back in and take a narrow exit. Some will turn in early and use the width. So just said a great opportunity for drivers to make a pass, but a good place to watch how the drivers set up their laps differently. Stay on board here with TJ, 46 seconds left. It's not a hard cutoff in this qualifying, so they will, if they start a lap with a second left on the clock, will get to complete that lap. So just having a look here. So Ben Brazier is going to get around again. He's probably going to be just about the last person. Maybe Trevor Leonard, if he's going to have another dig at it, might get through the gate. We'll have Edwards and Harvey if they choose to go again. Brockbank will get across the line as well. And he's probably going to be the last one. Looks like Greg Levine's going to miss out. So he'll be our first to finish, well, technically his final lap.
I think it is a hard cut, actually, because we're running the heat format. So it should be a hard, hard
oh, it
cut
is too. Sorry, you're on the wrong way. So they've all missed out.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Ignore everything I just said.
Here's the grid.
We'll move on. Have a look at the grid. So Ben Brazier takes pole for Team Racecraft Motorsport in P1. Simon Mazzomo does get his lap counted and is in P2. He'll be happy to be on the front row. We've got Tiago Macedo off row 2 with Mike Pepper next to him. Move a little bit further back. It is Trevor Leonard and Richard Mayer and Frog Elite Juice Racing entry, number 948. Harry Dodds in the 981, Frog Elite Juiced entry. Next to him is John Akers. Michael Howlett, 45 in P9, and Clint Harvey's going to be starting next to him in P10. And then it's Jackson Pringle in the VMM Esports entry with Kurt Rose, 151 off P12. Cameron Edwards is next in P13 with Ray Oliver next to him in P14. And then it'll be Paul Brockbank and Franz Estabauer in 15th and 16th. So we'll keep rolling back through the pack here. Chase Hoy, Kyle Ridley, 17th and 18th with TJ and Barry Punter, 19th and 20th. TJ will be looking to move up from there. Barry Punter and Dean Hunt off 20th and 21st. Oh, Greg Levine, my apologies. Sam DeRua and Jesse McMiniman, 23rd and 24th. Rounds out our 24 starters here. So we'll do a warm-up lap behind the safety car, and then we will get cracking. Round 3 of the Southern Cross ESports V8 Drive Day Winter Series here on SimSpeed.
Just received a message from Simon Mazzomo saying that his lap would have been a 39.4 in that final chicane. It's cost him what would have been a pole position. So he's a little annoyed at himself, but the positive is that he knows that he's got pace. Well, that's positive to take away from that. But as we said, that final chicane could be the make or break corner. You don't want to do what Mazzomo did and get an off track on the last lap, especially if you don't have a huge margin. One other thing I wanted to talk about too was we were talking before about the pit exit. On those cold tyres, you were saying about how you have to, the car naturally will drift you wide a little bit. You've got a very, very small margin, a very, very small track that you can drive through on the pit exit. Otherwise, you do get an unsafe pit exit penalty. So that white line right up until the blue cone, you have to stay within those white lines. If you don't, you will get a penalty, and the penalty is very, very harsh. So making sure that you don't push too hard on pit exit on cold tyres is going to be very, very crucial. I think we might see someone get a penalty for that throughout the race.
Yeah, definitely. And it brings into question that what do you do? You know, do you go early? Do you go late? When do you do it? So that's all coming to us in that feature race coming up after this one. Reverse top 12, remember, so P12 here, important. So for those battling who may not have quite got their qualifying lap right, who need to make amends, they're going to want to make sure they get up into or around that P11, P12 position to maybe turn their fortunes around for the night.
If it makes the drivers feel any better, no point asking us what the right move is to do, because neither of us know either. We haven't quite worked out what the right strategy call is yet after watching the first 2 rounds, and I don't think there is a right strategy that we've worked out yet. I think all of them have pros and cons, which is great. It means that there's no one idea that is the all-in-all must-do to win the race and win the series.
Yeah, and it definitely varies up what we get to see each week as well, track to track. So cool track temps here. If it stays that way, 22 degrees at the moment. I think maybe the early call I'm going to go with tonight is my pick. I'd go early and run the tyres a bit longer, particularly if I'm stuck back in the pack with some pace. See if I can get the undercut done, but we'll see what happens. As I say as well, the liveries on all these cars, the drivers have done a fantastic job. All looking absolutely cracking. So, plenty to look at here tonight. They're getting around on what can seem like an eternal warm-up lap in these. You can see the safety car just pulling away a little bit. Not too far to go before we get racing.
One thing that you can see during this warm-up lap is how aggressive every single driver has been in the field to try and get some sort of heat into their tyres. Trying hard, but I don't know if anyone's succeeded to get anything in the tyre.
No, it's difficult, particularly with that cold track temp as well. No rubber on the track really, albeit from practice and qualifying, but we're ready to go here. Mazzomo and Brazier at the front of the field, looking to control, waiting for the green flag to go. And we're off and running here. Round 3, second to Magny Cours. And we're getting good run down into turn 1. Looking like we're going 3 wide, a little bit further back in the pack. There's a little bit of contact there at the front, but everyone's going to get through. And that is the 45 there of, not Barry Punter, but off the field is Mike Howlett, I should say. And he's trying to get a rejoin here safe without losing too many places. So try and get my teeth back in as we make the run down towards Adelaide. Cold tyres, drivers jostling for position here, trying to get a position, trying to defend, look in their mirrors, trying to potentially take an opportunity as we're 4 wide down into Adelaide. That number will not go. It's a little bit of contact there as well. You can see their slow-moving car out of the traffic, and there's a round. I think that might be Jonathan Akers who might have had an issue there. Paul Brockbank's dropped down a little bit too, so a little bit of contact out of Adelaide corner. As everyone just tries to get these things to stop and turn on these cold tyres. Cool track temps, a little bit of a run wide there as well for Simon Mazzomo. So Tiago Macedo takes the opportunity to move up 1 place there into P2.
Macedo's actually broken away. That was Trevor Leonard trying to get through after Mazzomo. Again, cold tyres, couldn't get any temperature into the fronts. They just went straight ahead, but he's now looking like he's found a bit of composure. And Mike Pepper was trying to take advantage of Trevor Leonard side by side with Mazzomo. And you're right there too. Jonathan Akers and I think it was Ray Oliver that was having an issue at the start of the race, both dropping back down through the field. But for the most part, we got through lap 1. But not the cleanest opener to this race is Trevor Leonard. He tried to turn that into a motocross jump.
Yeah, I think Chase Hoy's had an issue there as well, just popped up on screen. Well, there's more than that involved. That's Howlett again. So his start has gone from bad to worse. He'll be looking to resurrect.
And confirmed too, Trevor Leonard got a slowdown penalty for too aggressive over the curbs at that final corner. So we were saying that you can't really be too aggressive, and there is the aggression level seen where the limit is. Leonard will know that is past the limit, unfortunately for him. He's lost a couple of spots, but watch how aggressive he is over this curb. Bang!
Oh, yeah. Yeah, four wheels in the air, generally a predictor of pain. And there's another incident as well. We've got a car around at the bottom of the screen there. Edwards. That looks like Cameron Edwards. I think Jackson Pringle might have got involved in that as well. There's damage on the front of the number 7. So the driver's just struggling early on with the cold tyres. Hearing over the radio as well. So it's race control to have a look at that incident down into Adelaide corner. So we'll keep you up to date if there's anything that changes as a result of that. We did see Race control doing a great job last time out.
Gago Masadou's just received a slowdown penalty as well, and now will lose that, or has lost that spot, sorry, to Simon Mizomo. Trevor Leonard did not serve his slowdown penalty fast enough, has received a black flag from iRacing for not serving the slowdown. So that little jump over the curb, it's turned into big pain for him. Battle for fifth is getting very, very heated for fourth and fifth, between Harry Dodds and Mike Pepper. These guys are going at it pretty hard.
Yeah, absolutely they are. And fastest lap of the race goes to Simon Mizomo at the moment with a 40.06. So, and there he is in pit lane, Trevor Leonard. But this battle here between Pepper and Dodds is what we're expecting to see plenty of tonight, actually. So you can see there the gap just across the three drivers. Bottom right of screen for the battle for fourth. Right on one another, the teammates. And I can tell you there'll be no team orders to speak of. It will be on. And this is another battle I've been keeping my eye on that you brought up on here with TJ. Oh, just getting through there. Oh, and in the background, a big slide getting on again. Still struggling with the tyre temperature in the rears was Ray Oliver. Big slide, but this battle's been going on for a while as well, involving Jackson Pringle, TJ Ridley, Rockbank, and Esterbauer as well. Let's just have another quick look at the replay here.
Second time we've seen Ray Oliver sideways at the exit of this corner, and that's just lack of tyre temperature still, I think. Just hasn't been able to get any heat in the tyres. Franz Esterbauer around at exit of turn 11. Still struggling to get himself back. That was all from memory there too, saying 10, 11. I think I've done pretty well there, remembering the corners here.
I liked it.
TJ around now. This is at the exit of turn 13.
Oh, wow.
No. Everyone's avoided him.
That looked like a bag of marbles, just trying to avoid one another there. That was pretty close. Have a look here at TJ.
It was a pack of seagulls fighting over a chip.
Over a chip, absolutely. He got to help around there. So I reckon he'll be asking for a little bit of investigation into that one.
Side by side over the start-finish line here between Chase Hoy and Mike Howlett. We did see Chase Hoy having some issues in qualifying. He was saying he was having trouble with his gear shifting during qualifying. So he was unable to do as many qualifying laps as he could and had to get that fixed. But it looks like he's fixed it and he's back out on track. Obviously was facing the wrong direction at the final corner early on, but he's starting to make his way back forward again, which is great to see.
Heard over the radio there that TJ has asked for an investigation into that one. And I was literally just about to touch on Cameron Edwards. That Porsche looking very second-hand at the front there, and he's still struggling. So, just speaking of at the front, Ben Fraser on screen now.
That gap's closed very quickly.
Yeah, I was about to say he is about to come under some pressure. Mizomo, fastest lap of the race last time around. 57 or 39.57 against the 39.7 from Brazier. So he'll know he's coming. Just keeps his head down here. Still 13 minutes to go in the race. Anything can happen, as we've seen. All the slowdowns and what have you. So Mizomo will be wanting to get up as quickly as he can here, though. As we have a look at another replay.
This is Mike Pepper having an issue at turn 13. And this is cold tyres, concrete ripple strips, and lack of grip. And we're nearly halfway through this first race, and it's very, very obvious that not many drivers in the field have temperature in the tyres.
No, and Greg Levine also struggling. He's gone around and gone off as well. I think at 15, he's only just got back on the track. Let's see if we can bring that one to you as well.
Actually been contacted. It's actually an incident with he and Howlett at the final complex. Doing a bit of Google Translate work before. We worked out this is the you say it was the high school corner?
Yes. High
Another
school
one was
corner.
the water corner.
The water corner. So that was interesting there. Howard actually dropped a wheel onto the grass, which meant he went, and then a little bit of synchronised spinning ensued.
Was he forced onto the grass, though?
Man, potentially. So Howlett's probably having one that he wants to forget.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if Levine didn't even realise he was there, because when he would have looked in his mirrors the first time, he was going one way, and then all of a sudden he's moved over and he's on the other side. So just a little bit of maybe not aware.
Not a ton of vision out of the blind spot, so to speak, in these cars. So particularly being left-hand drive there, he would have had no idea he was there.
Up at the front, down to 0.7 of a second now too. So this is closed very quickly at the front.
Yeah, Brady will know that Mizomo is there. The track temp is increasing, 23 degrees now.
The sun's out.
In the feature race. Yeah, I was just going to say the sun's coming out as well. So track setting is actually the 15th of May. So well and truly into spring. Tail end of spring in sim time.
We were looking at that replay before. It was so obvious how dark it was in comparison. Like, it's so dark in that image there, isn't it? It's just amazing how dark the track is when the cloud cover is there. And the track temp did drop just at the race start down below 20 degrees. It is now back up to 23. So that will help the drivers, but still very, very cool conditions. That will mean that I think you're right. I think the early stop might be the right move come race 2 when we do see that strategic pit stop required. Pitting as early as you possibly can to get those tyres on and make sure that you've got heat in the tyres for as long as possible. You don't want to be doing the last 5-10 minutes on cold tyres to try and get yourself home. You'd much prefer to do that at the start. Get it out of the way. This is a very, very nice move from Richard Mayer. Up the inside, move done. Beautiful move.
It's done clean. Jonathan Akers there, very aware too, leaving him plenty of room. So fighting the battle that he needs to fight, of course. He's sitting well and truly comfortably inside the top 10. So you've got to know the ones that you need to fight. Again, speaking of fight, Mizomo on the back of Brazier. Gaps, it's actually plateaued a little. But well and truly in the draft territory now, so won't be too long before Brazier's got to do some defending. Make that Porsche his as wide as he can. It's a gap down into the braking zone there. Closes down under half a second.
Harry Dodds, who was sitting in 4th position, has made a little meal of the final complex of corners himself. Goes in to turn at turn 15 and realises, oh, I'm a bit too deep there. Loses one spot. And actually didn't lose a spot. He just lost a bit of ground. That is the lap down car there of Barry Punter there, potentially. Not sure who that was that got in front of him there. The 151. No, that was Kurt Rose, so it was a position.
Yeah, it was for position, I think. Yep. Yeah, the 440 of Barry Punter. He's down on his luck. 24th.
Sam Derur also down on his luck as well. He started from the pit lane, now out of the race as well. So he has not had a good run of things. I think he's actually got some tech issue because he has left the service. So hopefully it's not the end of the night for Sam Derur. We'll see him back in for the next races. That's damage to the front of Jesse McMenamin's car, and he was stopped there on track. So something's happened there. I think there's been a bit of a checkup, and might have been the driver that's been a little caught out in that one. Actually, no, it's a bit worse than that.
As I said, I did get a notification that he went off track there, so he perhaps has had an issue.
10-11 chicane.
Oh, too much curb. That sausage curb's hurt him. And they plenty of runoff there, which is good, but upsets the car too much. You just can't grab it back from that. And while we say be aggressive over the curbs, that one is a onion on top kind of affair. He's ended up out in the weeds, so he's got a little bit of work to do now. Down in 20th position.
Oh, Dodds again.
He's just struggling with the brakes there. He might maybe need to change his brake bias up.
To make a little tweak there before he ends up running up the rear, but he's just lost 3 positions with 2 big brake lockups. He's now back into 7th place. he'll be hoping that he doesn't have any more because Jonathan Akers is the next in line. Richard Mare's doing a great job. He's now up into 6th position. He is gaining spots and gaining them very, very quickly. He could get himself into the top 4 by the end of this race.
He has done a fantastic one, just nice and quietly. It's actually where he started the race.
I just noticed that too.
He just hasn't come into the trouble that everyone else has. So Cours up 8. He's our biggest mover, joint biggest mover with Kyle Ridley as we have a look out the back of Brazier now, who is getting very accustomed with the front of the 954 of Simon Mazzomo. There'll be a move on here potentially down towards Adelaide. Mazzomo will get some advantage now. He's right under the back wing of the number 5 of our race leader. He's just been quietly achieving there. Richard Mare just staying clear. So's Harry Dodds and Jonathan Akers. They haven't made a position or lost a position. So biggest losers out of it are Michael Howlett and Trevor Leonard, who've dropped multiple positions.
Trevor Leonard did have to come in and serve a pit stop. Seeing Barry Punter back in the pits, remembering he was in for a big, long pit stop early on. So he obviously had some damage from something very, very early. We said that he was in an incident, I think it was with Cam Edwards potentially, but unfortunately has had to bring the car back into the pits with some damage. So he'll get that fixed and get back out there for race 2.
Plenty of cars out there with damage actually, so
yeah, probably easier to find the one without.
Yeah, it's been a hard old race 1 here, as we're getting towards 5 minutes to go. Board now with the 948 of Richard Mare. It's an emerging young team, the Frog Leap Juice Boys. But, plenty of representation around multiple series actually across the iRacing platform, so good to see them making their way forward. And Richard Mare's doing a great job here. Right behind Kurt Rosé, who's taking a slightly different line there. Man, maybe just trying to put a question mark or two into Clint's mind. Into Clint's mind.
And Harvey, a veteran of the series, did very, very well in Season 1 of Southern Cross ESports. Mare goes very aggressive over the curbs. Very lucky not to get a slowdown penalty for that one, but does get away with it. Just saw Franz Esterbauer get a slowdown penalty, as did, I believe it was Cameron Edwards, both too aggressive at some point in the track. But Richard Mare's just got some great momentum through the sweeper there, through big curve, the grand curve, and Estoril through this kinky, which is golf. He's going to get the move done before the braking zone at the Adelaide hairpin.
I think there might have been a little bit of gentlemanly about that one.
Well, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, there was no point fighting. He knew he was going to lose a spot, and there's Harry Dodds going straight ahead again.
Yeah, he's really struggling in the 981. Good number, that 981.
Oh, that's your number, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Actually, my real life race number is 81. I only went to the 981 because of our team name, so somebody else had taken the 81 as, again, Race is doing a great job here. The 3 minutes to go, so we're looking at 2 laps plus 1.
Be 2 laps at the line, yeah.
2 laps at the line. And he's just managing Mazzomo well. I think someone will be very aware of wanting to make bank here as well. Again, probably a little lucky there not to get a slowdown, but he hasn't. But they're obviously stronger in different parts of the track, because we saw this last lap around. Mazzomo was right on Brea into this part of the track, right up to Adelaide, and then the gaps just sort of slides out a little bit again to that half a second, and he's able to manage it for the balance of the lap. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one as we head towards the last lap. We're going to have another look here.
It's Mike Pepper trying to get past Paul Brockbank. He just gives a little bit of a rub there as he tries to get on through.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think he might have thought that Brockbank was letting him through, but Brockbank might just have naturally broke a little bit earlier. So, Mazzomo's just got to slow down as well, I believe. So look at the gap that he's just lost.
I think Esterbauer might have had an issue too on that lap, but yeah, that's what we're talking about in terms of that management. So you'd figure from here, Brea will, barring incident, probably be able to close this one out now. So we have a look at that incident for the 80. He's just gone around, caught it actually. So there'll be plenty of heat in those tyres now, but they'll have
About 18 minutes too late, though.
some fairly big flat spots on it, you'd imagine. So again, we're jumping on with the 151 at Kurt Ross. He's, Jose, I should say, my apologies. He is under pressure here from Matt.
Yeah, thinking about throwing it up the inside. Oh, late lunge! Oh, no.
Straight on the radio with an apology for that one.
Harry Dodds might get a spot back here.
I was going to say, Dodds looks like he's going to get to push here. Hopefully he's got the brake bias wound back a little bit on that one. So they can get it stopped this time.
Final lap. Breyer and Mazzomo already through, as is Macedo. Harvey now broken away from these guys into fourth. Jose, Mayer, Dodds, Akers, and Jackson Pringle now has got himself onto the back of this group for what is fifth position. As Dodds gets another slowdown.
Yeah, slow down again. I figure there might be a post-race penalty as well out of that incident that we just saw between Mayer and Rose.
Feels like some sort of time penalty or points penalty post-race would be what is potentially incoming, but he's going to have another crack at it. That's what I like. Good racers always have another crack at it. They don't just give up after that one go. Won't get it done, but Pringle gets past Harry Dodds. Dodds back to ninth now.
Yeah, Jackson Pringle, good pass there in the virtual motorsport
maybe not.
mentor car. He's got the drag race on, and there's an opportunist in the background too. This could get really interesting. Pringle's got the preferred line, and then it's Akers looking to make bank as well as Harry Dodds. They sort of reform here. Akers just pulls back into line. Dodds jogs on the spot for a little bit.
The front's on for the lead.
Head back to the front here. Oh, he's got it done. Mazzomo throws it up the inside, and there's a switchback. Can Breyer get back? It's on at the he's going to get wide, and he'll get a slowdown for that, so that'll be the end of that one. But Mazzomo gets the move done on the last lap to take the win over Ben Breyer.
Macedo crosses for third. Harvey will get fourth, but fifth and sixth here. Thought about throwing it up the inside, backed out of it. He'll hold on to sixth position with Kurt Rose in fifth. Pringle will hold on to seventh. Eighth will be with Akers, Dodds in ninth. And Paul Brockbank going to get the magic position. He's going to finish P12 in this one. He will be pretty happy with that after what was an eventful race that didn't go to plan. I think if you've had an eventful race that didn't go to plan but still get the pole in race 2, you can't complain too much about it. But Simon Mazzomo finally breaks the curse. We thought it might have been a horrible night again for him after the bad luck in qualifying. Finally gets a win.
Yeah, gets to drop it in there in P1, and a good move right at the end there as well. Good competition between himself and Breyer for that win. And he'll finally make bank. Tiago Macedo sort of had a race of his own in that one, so just got through in P3. And there'll be plenty looking to make amends as well, but Paul Brockbank will be the biggest benefactor out of this reverse top 12 feature race coming up. Of course, that compulsory stop, we'll see what happens with that as well. Biggest mover in the field was Kurt Rose, actually, up 7 spots. We'll have a look at the results for you now. Race 1, 12 laps through. Simon Mazzomo in P1 with Ben Brazier 2 and Tiago Macedo in P3. Then it was Clint Harvey and Kurt Rose, Richard Mayer up into 6th. Jackson Pringle, he made some moves as well, up into P7 with Harry Dodds settling in P8, Ray Oliver 9 and Kyle Ridley rounding out our top 10. So move back further on, Paul Brockbank in 11. Mike Pepper in 12, according to this, so potentially a post-race penalty there.
I'm
changing that order.
Trying to work out who the post-race penalty has been. Jonathan Akers is the driver that's dropped out of there. He's now back in P20.
Yeah, right, okay, in the 87 as he is. So Chase Hoy 13th, Dean Hunt 14th with TJ 15th. Michael Howlett in 16th after his ups and downs. 17th was Cam Edwards with Jesse McManaman in 18th. Franz Esterbauer in 19th. And as you said, John Akers coming in through into 20th. There's Barry Punter, Greg Levine, sorry. I'll even go back up to 21st, and it's Trevor Leonard and Greg Levine, Barry Punter, Sam Giroux with those issues, and Keegan did not start the race.
I think we need another look at the dive bomb at the end of the race there, because it was a very, very nice, well-executed pass, and I don't think that Ben Brayer was expecting an overtake.
No, it was quite a deep run, wasn't it, from him? He used the curb well to help just slow that car down, and managed to hold the preferred line and get that done. And of course, unfortunately, Bray just got a little wide there, caught some grass, lost the drive. You can see that steering wheel furiously being seesawed to try and keep that thing on the track, and that just allowed Mazomo to trundle off into the sunrise and get across the start-finish line in P1.
3 minutes away from race number 2, remembering that this is a catch-up round for previous races in the series, so the schedule is slightly tweaked, which is why I've just remembered that I haven't updated the dates, and I will just bring it up as the original dates, because I think we all understand that the date for tonight is changed. Obviously tonight is not the 14th of June, it is now the 28th of June. Just remembered it's my brother's birthday, better say happy birthday to him. So next week we'll be back for another round, back-to-back weeks into Fuji next week. It's still a cool schedule to come. Road America will be great. Phillip Island is fantastic in these cars. Spa's always amazing, and finishing off at Bathurst. It's a very, very cool looking schedule, this one.
Yeah, I think we touched on it last time out, that we've sort of got the uncommon stuff followed by sort of the core pillars of just about every series that you see. Road America, Phillip Island, Spa, and Mount Panorama to round out the series. Southern Cross ESports, you couldn't basically think of another place to finish it up other than Mount Panorama. So, but the track's Fuji again next week's going to be a fantastic place to go racing. So, lots to come, which is good. We're not going anywhere yet. We've got another race to bring to you in a minute or two. But if you're watching this on a replay at some stage in the future, round 4 at Fuji, 8:30 next week in Australian Eastern Standard Time. We will be back here to bring you another installment.
I'll miss next round, so I'll be off doing other broadcasting commitments. We'll have Dan Yeaman with you for next one. I'm sure you and Dan will have a great show, because he's been here for this series before, and he knows how action-packed, especially race 2, can be in this series. The second race throughout this championship, whether it's been in this car or the previous car we've used, which is the GTE Porsche, just something with the second race, the strategy just instantly provides an absolute banger of a race.
Yeah, well, as we've said, tyres, fuel, pit entries, pit exits, undercuts, overcuts, I mean, it's all at play, and that change in the fuel window as well. So it's something I didn't take into consideration when I made my proclamation at the top of the show, that they'll be able to get the distance as well with an early stop. So that will come into consideration here. It'll be a little bit different to last time out. So there might be a few drivers managing in the traffic to try and maybe save a little bit of fuel. We're not a track where there's a great amount of fuel saving to be had, but every little bit you can get counts if you're trying to run to a number and to a strategy.
Temp has definitely increased a little bit during the warm-up phase we've just seen then. Not a huge amount, but enough that will make getting heat into these tyres a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit easier. I think they'll be happy with it. I don't think they would have wanted too much more track temp to help them with getting heat into the tyres. I've just noticed the track temp has gone up again. It's now up to 25 degrees. So I think drivers will be quite impressed and quite happy that the track temp has gone up.
Not to mention getting out of those dull conditions that greeted us at the start of the race. Let's have a look at our grid for this one. We've got Mike Pepper and Paul Brockbank off 1 and 2. And it's going to be Kyle Ridley and Ray Oliver off 3 and 4.
R3 and 4 and P3 and 4.
Absolutely, with Harry Dodds and Jackson Pringle off 5 and 6. And it's Kurt Rose and Clint Harvey off 7 and Richard Mayer, and Kurt Rose off 7 and 8. with Clint Harvey and Tiago Macedo off 9 and 10. Ben Breyer and Simon Mazzomo off 11 and 12. They'll be looking to get through. Chase Hoy and Dean Hunt off 13 and 14. With TJ and Michael Howlett off 15 and 16. I'm just hearing that TJ has to start from pit lane. It's a penalty from the previous race. Cam Edwards, Jesse McManaman, 17 and 18. And then Franz Esterbauer and John Akers after that penalty, 19th and 20th. That's Trevor Leonard and Greg Levine off 21 and 22. And then I think Barry Punter and Sam Derua off 23 and 24, if Sam Derua is back in the sim.
I don't believe he's got back out there, but I can see Barry Punter has taken to the grid, which is great to see. As
so
we said,
think from all of that, we've actually, sorry to cut across you there, Dave. TJ, Jackson Pringle and Chase Hoy, I believe, all starting from pit lane.
Okay, so that's huge.
Post-race penalties, so...
We did see a couple of incidents late on in that race, so I'm not too surprised to see that we've had some incidents, but yeah, pit lane start can be a difficult thing to come back from too.
Yeah, big penalties for that, but the one thing we love is the consistency, so that's what they've done. And I was wondering, because obviously a penalty, if you finish P4 or P5 in the first race, a penalty of 10 seconds or so may actually end up grabbing you the pole, so probably not too surprised that they drop them down into pit lane, and we might see if we can find out a little bit more about that, as Cole Ridley there as well just pulls over. I think he's been told he has to start from pit lane as well, so he was in P3, of course.
Very interesting.
Plenty of changes.
No doubt hear a bit more about that before racing next week. We'll give you some of that info if we can next week.
Do you know who that benefits the most, in my mind, is Simon Mazzomo. Of course, this last week, the last time out, is where his night really came unstuck. He got caught up in some early incidents in that feature race and ended up getting a drive-through penalty and a whole heap of things, which resulted in him finish, I think, in P11. He managed to get back into it. So he'll be happy with a couple of less cars he's got to pass in front of him as he tries to make his way back up to the front of the field.
He'll be just happy if he can get through without an incident at the start of the race, which has happened in both races. One of his own doing, one of not anything close to his own doing. But first 2 weeks have both had incidents in this race. Feature race. See in the background there too, Barry Punter's still having some sort of technical issue because he's just pulled the car over and off the track once again. So when we said that glad to see him back out on track, I don't know if we were expecting him to be back off the track once again so quickly. He has abandoned the race once more.
And Richard Mayer now also in pit lane.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cars starting from pit lane. That's quite a pit street backlog there that they're going to have. That's going to make it challenging for those 5 drivers, cold tyres and a gap to the back of the field. So we'll keep an eye on how they play their strategies. So, but at the front, Mike Pepper, sorry, Jay, to say that just as you switch to pit lane, Mike Pepper, Paul Brockbank, going to be the ones getting us away. They've gone really early here. The race is off and running. And just having a look at everyone getting through there. The field's really spread. They went quite early. I don't know if they'll have a look at that or not, but it is Pepper and Brockbank at the front with Harry Dodds just behind them, and Ray Oliver putting pressure on straight away in the 9.54. Sorry, that was Simon Mazzomo. My apologies. Putting pressure on straight away. Just sort of cycling back through the field here. Just having a look at everyone as they get down towards Adelaide Corner. This is where we saw a little bit of an issue early on in our first race with those cold tyres, drivers trying to get things done. Defending here, Mike Pepper on the inside. And Brockbank there just running deep, and there's someone who's just gone straight ahead into the barrier. Tiago Macedo gone in that. He'll get that turned around and get back on with it. It's going to have an impact on his race. He'll fall back, no doubt, into those starting from pit lane.
Only just got the car going.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to get out of those traps as well. Don't really flick the car around in it. Back up at the front, Pepper and Brockbank trying to break away from Harry Dodds. Clint Harvey, Ben Brayer under pressure from Ray Oliver as well. Rose well and truly in this one, as you'd expect early on. Still tightly bunched. Plenty of work to do. Simon Mazzoma up to P8, up 4 spots already. Cam Edwards up 8. Esterbauer up 9, as there's a big lock up there from Ray Oliver. And he's around. Oh, we saw this from him early on in the last race. Just managed to avoid any contact there with anyone else as the moves on at the front. Brockbank and Pepper. Oh, a little bit of contact there. There's another lock up. They both go straight ahead, and that plays right into Harry Dodd's hands as he moves up. And he'll cross the line to take the lead after lap 1. Hopefully he's got that brake bias sorted out. And he can run away a little bit here at the front with Harvey and Brayer, Brockbank, Pepper, Mazzomo up to 6th, Kurt Rose up to 7th, Edwards, Hunt and Esterbauer running out of top 10 after lap 1.
And Dean Hunt's got a huge pack of cars behind him as well, as that's running a little bit wide there. That's Trevor Leonard, who's... What a good recovery, I guess you could say, from where he was at the end of lap 3 on race 1 to be stone cold last. He's now back in with some sort of fight halfway up through the field, as Barry Punter looks like he might be day done as well. He's having all sorts of PC issues and may not make it back out on track. Some great battles going on, but how is that from Brockbank? And who was the other car at the front there that had that big off? But those guys were looking very, very strong, but now they're going to have to work up.
And these cars, of course, no ABS, no traction control. There's a move down the inside there.
Big dive.
From the 5 of Ben Brayer, gets it done.
Mazzomo in the background just gets through on Paul Brockbank too, so both of our front 2 from the first race making moves.
Yeah, no surprises there. They want to get it done as quickly as they can, minimise the risk, and maximise the return out of this feature race. So, just watching through to the completion of lap 2 here. Some gaps forming. Who was that in the background? That was Paul Brockbank. Just looking a little unsettled out of the chicane. As Mazzomo does the fastest of the race so far, 41.096.
Very interesting seeing the different lines that guys are taking through turns 1, 2, 3. Very, very wide entrances, double apexes through 2, and then there's some that are really shallow. It's very, very interesting the amount of different ways that you can tackle this track. And they all seem to be very, very similar in regards to their pace.
Yeah, and it's that thing that you alluded to as well, Jay, with the width of the track, just allowing those multiple lines, even down through Adelaide, and that there's definitely multiple lines that the drivers can take, which is why it's such a great overtaking track. That extra width that it provides with the generosity of the use of the width of the track as well.
I saw why you held your breath there.
Yeah. So it really is a great track for racing, particularly in these cars. As we're having a look here on board with Ben Brayer, just looking to get the move done here. He'll know that Simon Mazzomo is on his way. But, he's got Harry Dodd to deal with. It looks like he's got the brakes under control in the 981, but Brayer's right there with him. Fantastic looking livery on that 9812. And the Racecraft boys, they do a great job as well. Plenty of pressure, and talk about pressure, Mazzomo all over the back of Clint Harvey in the 54. As Ray Oliver looks like he's got a move done in the background. Dean Hunt's gone off the track somewhere in the background there. You can see the smoke, and there it is there in the wall. He's got to be careful trying to get that turned around there. Does a good job to not get out onto the track. I think there might have been a slowdown there for Ray Oliver too. And that'll be a slowdown there on the way back on the track, you'd figure. I'll have a look here at the incident. Must have been between the two of them, under brakes, and just did not get that pulled up. Lucky there, Cameron Edwards, not to be taken out on the inside. Did a good job to get off the track, I guess, as well, after the incident.
Ben Brayer's just taken the lead as well. Harry Dodds just ran a little bit wide. Had to check up Giggs out of the throttle a tiny, tiny little bit, but Brayer's like, well, you don't want the spot, I'll take it.
Yeah, a little bit of a squeeze there. Good awareness from Harry Dodds. Maybe not quite knowing that he was right next to him. And then gets it done down into Adelaide to close the door. And he'll be off and running. Mazzomo taking his time on Clint Harvey. Mazzomo set the fastest lap of the race last time around with a 40.2.
He doesn't look too concerned, does he? Just content. As long as he stays within a couple of seconds of the lead group,
Yeah.
be okay.
Gets it done there.
Yes.
I was looking for a switchback there. Maybe Clint
Oh,
Harvey.
here comes Dodds too. Dodds with
yeah,
the move there. So Brayer's made a tiny error, and now Harry Dodds is looking to take the spot. And he will.
Gets it done. And forces Breyer a little wide. Perfectly fine in what he did too. And that just helps Mazzomo that little bit. Great shots here of the chicane. There's a slowdown there. I think that was getting through there. The 19 of Paul Brockbank, as you said. He will serve that slowdown.
Actually, worse than a slowdown for him. Have a look at this. He's had a huge lockup.
Oh, wow.
And as he's gone to rejoin, can I get back in there? No, you're not allowed. You're going to have to cut the corner, and there's an extra slowdown. So that's a painful sequence of corners for him. Is back at front. Harry Dodds is coming back again at Ben Breyer.
Simon was almost thinking, well, I'm just going to have a watch here, see what happens, because I'm quite happy here, just saving a little bit of tyre if that's the strategy, saving a little bit of fuel as well, and just watch these boys duke it out at the front between Breyer and Dodds. Zomo knows he's got the pace, he just needs to maintain contact with these guys and see what happens. Harvey's just fallen away a little bit at the back. Tell you what, who else is having a hard main race as well as Tiago Macedo. He's trying to resurrect his feature race. There he is on board there. He's dropped 8 places in this race, and at the moment he's battling with a couple of our gents who had to start in pit lane, Kyle Ridley and Jackson Pringle. So they're looking as well to move back up to get the advantage of the reverse top 12 that they should have with post-race penalties coming into play.
Dodds has lost second position because, guess what? He outbroke himself again. Locks the fronts and does pull it up, keeps it on the track. He's done that a few too many times today.
Yeah, it's just hurting him. He's got some good pace when he can string the laps together, but yeah, those lockups are really impacting on the result. As Akers is doing well here as well, up 9 places from his P20 start for the feature race after a post-race penalty that dropped him out of the top 10. Jesse McMenamin here in P12. He's up 6 as well. So some good movers here. Trevor Leonard, 15 spots, if you don't mind. Just ahead of this battle as well. So we're riding on board here with McMenamin. You'll see with this long run down to Adelaide, he's getting a little bit of the benefit of the draft. He might have a look here. No, he decides better part of Valor there.
Thought he was going to send it up the inside then.
Did. He looked to have the pace there, just decided not to. Maybe just with this early on in the race, not needing to invite any additional trouble. So Leonard and Pepper battle away. This is for P6.
Drivers that are definitely not strangers to each other within this championship. Battled many times. Too.
Trevor Leonard actually took out the feature race last time out. So he'll be thinking he might be in with a shot here of potentially nabbing another back-to-back, or nabbing a back-to-back feature race win.
Good recovery for Leonard if he can get himself back into even a podium position from where he found himself midway through race 1. Basically the last runner on the lead lap. Now finding himself up into position number 5. They drops back to 6 and now has Mike Pepper to battle with. Paul Brockbank, he'll be looking to get himself back up into this group because remember, these were the guys that he was ahead of before he had that error. So don't be surprised to see him catch up onto the back as Pepper runs very wide.
Won't generate much pace out there.
Don't want to go out there to cool the tyres off either.
No, most certainly not. It's not the way to do it.
It's the battle of the guys that had to start from pit lane.
I was about to say the pit lane battle. So Jackson Pringle there in the newly announced virtual motorsport mentor esports team. Chris Purnell putting out about that on his socials not too long ago. I think it was today or yesterday I saw something about that. So
I got sent the message to update the team listing in the graphics about an hour and a half ago. An hour and a half before we went live, that is. So, very, very fresh. Now, I'm thinking back to the race, I'm thinking that now might be the time to pit.
Yeah, I was about to literally, you took the words right out of my mouth, so to speak. I was thinking that this, where we are here, so we're 7 minutes. Sorry, we're
nice move.
7 minutes.
Beautiful bit of driving from Richard Mayer there, and now Pringle's going to have to worry about Kyle Ridley around the outside. He's got that done. Now here comes Massadou. That slight little bit offline for Pringle has hurt him 2 spots and maybe 3. If I was Pringle, I'd be diving straight into the pits now.
Yeah, so we've got 32 minutes left to run in this, so fuel window is looking good. And we've got track temperature now has increased 27 degrees, so you're not going to take too long to get temperature into those tyres. So I think you're right, it's probably not a bad time to think about it, particularly if you've got pace ahead of those around you to get out of the hold up and get some new boots on and get the compulsory pit stop done. Seeing there as well on my time monitor that TJ's had another incident, so he's not enjoying himself tonight.
It's way back in the field, 47 seconds off the pace of the next car in front, so yeah, he's having a bit of a shocker at this one. A bit of damage to his car as well, by the looks. Probably going to bring it in the pits in that.
The question is as well, Breyer and Mazzomo resume status quo at the front here. 2 seconds to the good for Breyer. When do they stop? Who's going to blink first? I think they'll run this for a little while here.
I think whoever pits first is the one that wins the race, but neither of them want to pit and be the one that does it too early. But I think pitting first is the key, but which one do you do it? You want to pit it before the guy that you're battling with, but you don't want to pit that far in front of everyone else because you could leave yourself susceptible at the end. Rose and Pepper there just having a great little side-by-side battle after a big brake lock-up for one of them. I saw brakes locked. I don't know which one it was, but there was definitely some tyre smoke from one of those two.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get a slowdown there as well. He definitely used just as much of the curb as you'd want to. Pepper, big dive and lock up. So the switchback was on for Kurt Rose as well.
Nice move. If you are ambitious and can trust the driver that you're overtaking there, you can chop the nose off and be a little bit cheeky about it because they know they're either going to make contact with you or they're going to get a slowdown penalty or they're going to have to slam on the brakes. And if you know the driver around you, you can hopefully trust that they will take option 3, which is slam on the brakes.
Could end up with all 3, of course.
Yes.
Slamming on the brakes and getting a slowdown.
That would be me. Ray Oliver again, same corner. This is the 3rd time he's had issues at the Adelaide hairpin.
It's not the only one. There's been plenty. Struggling to get it done down into the hairpin. Cold tyres, brake bias, all the lot. This gap's dropping. 1.5 now. It was 1.9 last time around. So Braille will just be looking to try and maintain the gap as best he can here. So him come under pressure late in that first race. Just get pipped at the line.
Trevor Leonard's the one that's jumped. He might be listening to us and going, hey, if I'm going to win this race, I need to pit. Rockbank around, Rose around.
I heard an apology across the radio too, so I'll have a look at a replay. That one looks like a redress there as well.
This has started a little bit early because I was about to bring up a replay of a potential overtake between the two. So yeah, lock up there from Rose, gives up the spot. Then they fight all the way side by side down into the final corner. Or final complex, I should say.
I figure there's probably just a little lock up here, which we saw just... Oh no, oh wow. Just was not going to make the corner there. And I think that even with the redress, there'll be a penalty coming that way.
So first pit stop completed. Trevor Leonard. It is 39 odd seconds stopped in the box. See also in the background there, Jackson Pringle is stopped in the box, as is TJ. We're not too surprised that TJ has come in with those issues, but this car here is slow again. Masadou's had another issue at the Adelaide hairpin.
He's got damage on the front of the number 2.
I think that was from the start, was it not? He hit the wall very hard on lap 1 at this corner, but he outbroke himself again. Rockbank beside him. Oh, he's just cut the corner too aggressively.
Way too much of the corner there. Definitely would have got an off track for that one. But now he finds himself battling with Brockbank and Chase Hoyt.
See Chase Hoy's recovery through the field as well. Another one that we said was having issues early on. Is with the technical variety, as we mentioned earlier. His gear shifter wasn't working properly in qualifying, which put him a long way down the field. Now he's worked himself back up into P13 from starting rear of field.
Much as you don't want to see people not racing, technical issues in racing, it's talk of, geez, the 19 there, Paul Brockbank just exploring new areas of the track. I see people not driving due to technical errors, but it's the equivalent, of course, of real-life issues with cars. Can happen. There's plenty of equipment. As we have a look here at Brockbank just exploring the outer limits of the grass and everything else as he headed across the start-finish line.
I'm wondering if he's been checking his fuel/tyre info as Masadou runs a little bit wide, hits the grass, and around he goes. I'm wondering if at that point there, when Brockbank's got on the straight, he's looked away from his screens to go and look at fuel data or tyre data or something else unrelated to see if it's, hey, is it time to pit now? I'm thinking that's what he's done, and then gone, hang on, I'm off the track. I might pay attention to watch a little bit more.
Yeah, it's easy enough to do. Particularly if you're trying to calculate in your head where you're going to get it done. As we're having a look here, speaking of getting it done, at Simon Mazzomo, who is all over the back of Ben Breyer now. That gap is gone. So he is going to have to, he's got 26 minutes to last, so he's going to have to pull something out here if he's able to stay in front of Mazzomo, who has driven well tonight. So it's Breyer for that matter, of course.
Yeah, the only difference between the two has been a bold dive at the last corner on the last lap, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But you can just see again there, just the different lines that they take in, different braking points. We spoke about it before, that Mazzomo's strength is down into turn 5, so that first sort of half of the lap. As Tiago Macedo jumps into pit lane, again, not surprised to see that. And then Breyer's just seems a little stronger towards the midsection or through the midsection of the lap. So see the gap there, just back out to under half a second again.
For mine, it looks like Mazzomo's better under brakes and Breyer's better at quarter exit.
Yeah, 100%. I think you're spot on.
Which, obviously, the very, very short run from that final complex of corners to the actual finish line. The finish line is literally at the exit of turn 17. That helps Mazzomo in that aspect and showed that, you know, the dive at the final corner can help. But he's going to have to work a little bit harder to get it done in the same aspect or the same way this time. I don't think that he's going to find it anywhere near as easy on the last lap. He's in the same situation. I think Brent Breyer will be a little bit more aware of what's going on around him, be a little bit more prepared for a potential dive. They're not far off the halfway point in this race.
No, not at all. 2 minutes or so. He's going to get a slow down there as well. He's dropped off...
He had a little bit of a slide out of turn 14 or 13, I should say, at corner exits. Took him a half a second or so to regather the wheel and go again. Maybe lost a second. Jesse McMenamin's flying through the field. John Akers, he is up a few positions as Franz Estabauer, the giant Mandra car, comes into the pits. But Akers and McMenamin, they're huge movers as well as Michael Howlett. So they're going to be ones to watch in this race. Of course, the biggest mover before he made his pit stop was Trevor Leonard. So while Leonard's back in 19th position at the moment, don't forget to keep an eye on him. He is one to watch later on in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. he'll make his way back through the field, you would feel, as a couple more guys jump in a pit lane. Brockbank and Hunt. So that helps Leonard as well. As having a look at Franz Esterbauer, he's had a little bit of a challenging night. But, making the most of it at the moment.
He is just leaving the pit lane now. 40 seconds, so that's about what we expect. 39 to 41 on second pit stops. So we'll rejoin just behind Trevor Leonard, who's there. Jackson Pringle's just come past as well. This is the pit exit we were talking about. Watch, you've got to stay in that really thin tram track. You've got to cross over the blue line. You can't drift below that line. That's half a wheel on the line is okay, but you wouldn't want too much more from what Franz Esterbauer just did.
No, you find yourself in trouble. As Simon Zomo does a 40.057 just to respond. Harry Dodd's into pit lane. It's like a lot of the drivers thinking this is the best time to do it. Just over 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, around the halfway point. We were both thinking that in the earlier half of the race as opposed to the latter half, because you want to do the least amount of time towards the end of the race on the cold tyres. But I guess the other way to think about it is if you go longer, there's a potential that the track could be hotter when it's time to come out of the pits. So if you go as long as you can, you might find yourself very, very good position with the sun being out. With the conditions, there's every chance that the cloud could come over and the track cools off right at that moment too.
Yeah, well, it's 27 degrees track temp at the moment, so definitely playing into your line of thinking there. Mazomo talking about line of thinking, he's trying to think of where he can put the 954 to try and get the move done into P1. Just said, and spot on, Jay, that braking performance there from Mazomo, just that little bit better, you can see it. Said particularly down into 5. He just closes that gap up under brakes on Breyer. Just grabbing a little bit of grass there. And Mazomo, again, just closing that gap here through the chicane, head across the start-finish line, and then Breyer just gets that better exit.
Dean Hunt just moving out of the way there. He's had a couple of slowdowns on that lap, so that's what's put him down a fair bit. He will continue on. Just seen Mike Pepper has driven into the lane. There he is. Just seen Jonathan Akers is going to come in too, so let's see how aggressive he comes in. He could have been a bit faster than that, I think.
Very conservative.
Interesting, because he was one of the drivers we were watching in practice and in qualifying. We actually jumped on board with him for the pit entrance, so can't say that he hadn't practiced it, but I think he could have been a little bit more aggressive there. There is time to be found at pit entry and pit exit, and we've said it many, many times before. I don't know if you've heard me say this, Stu, but he's past a place on the track to overtake someone. He's in the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Spot on. So, you know, it's particularly on the sim as well, it's a very easy place. People don't often practice it. And if you get it right, get your pit box right in and out, you can definitely make up a couple of places and often find yourself just magically gaining time. It's Trevor Leonard in P9. So he's
fastest stop out of everyone that's done it so far as well, and he's obviously back up to speed. He is the fastest car on track right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing a good job. We said to watch out. He'd be on his way back up, and he's not letting us down.
7 seconds clear of Mike Pepper in 10th position. As into the pits comes Ben Breyer. Simon Mazomo continues on. He's going to try and do one extra lap, I would guess. 20 minutes left on the clock, so that looks like it'll be 12 odd laps, which is how many we had in our 20-minute opener. That means Mazomo will do at least 11 on the newer tyres. We think he probably 3 laps before you're going to get your tyres up to temp, as Clint Harvey comes in as well. There's only 4 drivers left to pit. They are Mazomo, Howlett, McMenamin, Ridley, and Rosé.
So, when do they pull the trigger? Ridley will have to go again.
All continued on. Ray is about to drop. Scene 2, Mike Pepper has picked up a black flag for not clearing a slowdown penalty or for his pit exit. One of the two. Breyer is away. John Akers. Now, Akers, I've just noticed he could be in trouble. He's only changed 2 tyres in the pit stop.
Yeah, that's not going to meet the requirements. He's got to do the 4. So...
See his pit stop time? That doesn't add up to what everyone else has done.
No. So maybe he's just unticked or didn't tick enough to get those other ones done. Here as well, Mike Howler got a message that he might have come off track. He's currently running in P2.
It was just 5 seconds on this lap.
Yeah, having made his stop. So I think he might have run off
Zomo in.
Adelaide.
Zomo has responded to Ben Breyer, and I've just rewound and found a whole heap of tyre smoke. Exactly as you said, at that corner at Adelaide. Hairpin from Michael Howlett, so he's lost a whole heap of ground there. Also trying to see if we can work out what has happened Mike Pepper to give him that penalty, as we've just seen Richard Mayer have a little moment there at the exact same corner. But Ben Breyer versus Simon Mazzomo is the interesting battle now. Howlett comes in, McManaman takes the race lead. Where will Mazzomo rejoin the race when Ben Breyer comes on by, and how much will these new cold tyres hurt both of these guys?
Yeah, the track times will be interesting to look at. Here comes Breyer. Zomo still in the lane. And on his way out now. So this is what we were talking about with this exit as well. They're going to be basically line ball crosses that blue line. There's Bray behind. So in fact, Mazzomo on that lap made some good pace in. Now the question is, with these cold tyres, Bray was slightly warmer. How much of that gap can he make up?
This is why Mike Pepper received a black flag. Watch the exit. Said you cannot cross over that line. Oh, he's okay. Maybe it wasn't. I rewound and thought I'd seen that. So it must have been a slowdown penalty at the final corner he did not clear. Or speeding in the pit exit as Akers loses a spot there to Trevor Leonard.
He did cross that white line, 2 tyres on that exit.
Yeah, it wasn't as much as we saw Esteban do earlier, was it? I mean, sorry, Esteban didn't do as much as what we just saw there. So
correct. Yeah, so I think it could be.
Crossing that line.
Called it. Doesn't matter that he got it back in before crossing the blue line. So 87 here of Jonathan Akers as McManaman's in and Kyle Ridley back into the lane. So Mazzomo will resume his position at the lead of this race.
There it is, right there.
Just that there. 2 tyres. That's all it takes. And, you're back in again. So look at the pit times, and of course we've got to see that stop for was it John Akers?
Yeah, that'll be reviewed, no doubt.
Taking those 2 tyres, he's in a bit of strife. As Trevor Leonard gets past him now. Yeah, so to watch Trevor Leonard, he's now up into P3. Of course, he's stopped, so he is on the run home here.
His tyres are already up to temperature, so he can push on from here and maybe gain some ground on those guys ahead.
As it is now resurrected to P3, so he's on the podium.
Chase Hoy is another driver that might be in trouble in regards to the pit stop times. We can see the times up on screen there. We said that between 39 and 41 was about the normal. Trevor Leonard right on that lower end. Kyle Ridley, that probably is okay. Mike Pepper's 3 seconds is to clear the black flag, but Chase Hoy 26 seconds, John Akers 17 seconds. Both of those seem very, very questionable in regards to lengths.
And you're definitely not thinking 2-stop strategy, so
no.
We'll see what comes of that.
You had it your way, it'd be a no-stop race. It's purely based on the tyre situation, but yeah, we've seen, I think every single race we've seen throughout this series over the 3 years of running it, that someone in one race always forgets about the 4 tyres and just takes 2 or forgets to take tyres at all. It's caught out with it. So I'm sure we've seen it again, and we won't see it this won't be the last time we've seen it. We'll see it again next round and the round after, all the way through to the end of the season. We'll see someone do it.
That's good. It gives us something to talk about.
It does.
That gap between Breyer and Mazzomo has closed, so with that lap warmer tyres, it was about 3 seconds out of pit lane. It's now down to 1.2. We are having a look at Kyle Ridley here. Cam Edwards behind him, Richard Mayer not too far off, and Jackson Pringle all partaking in this battle for 8th position.
Background there, that was McMenamin running wide because he's just had to clear a slowdown, so he's just moved off the circuit to let Howlett through without Howlett losing any ground as Cam Edwards decides to exit for a little bit of a drift off the track.
Just exploring the alternative lines.
Good work, because he actually gained some momentum down the straight here. I don't know if you can be able to get the move done, but that was a really good run. Tell you what, he might actually get this done around the outside. They're still side by side at the exit Adelaide through the kink at 6. Coming up towards 7 and 8. I think he's going to have to get the spot there, and there he does. But Pringle gets the spot, but Edwards trying to make a very, very good situation out of a good result out of a bad situation. And Mike Pepper's now closed in on these guys, remembering he's made an extra pit stop in this race.
Yeah, and the battling always helps the cars behind. They'll be looking at it, hoping it continues so he can close the gap and join the fray. Keeping an eye on John Akers there as well, just to see if he jumped back into pit lane or anything. I think he hasn't realised, so goes through for another lap.
Sure, someone is in his ear saying, hey, you need to come back in for another stop, but he'll be putting it off as late as he can. Because Cam Edwards is going to lose another spot here. It's Mike Pepper through. Oh. Tell you what, Pepper will have to be careful that he doesn't end up with another penalty for that. He was very aggressive there.
Ton of the curb there. Oh, and in the background there, another driver just exploring that infield too. I think that might have been Mike Howlett. Potentially, no, it's a little bit further back than that, maybe McMenamin or Macedo. Just searching for some extra grip, maybe. Great picture here of Mike Pepper just down the inside on.
Oh, nearly got all 4 off the ground. Yeah. He might have there, though.
Great shots there. Just having a look at the cars getting a lot of attitude over those curbs.
Look at the last lap time from these guys. You can't split these two.
Oh, wow.
It's the wrong button. Let me click that again. There we go.
And if you can, have a look as well then. Go one click further back to Trevor Leonard for his last lap as well. And he's done a 40.11.
And the difference with those three is that Zomo on that previous lap had done a lap faster, but now he hasn't. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. Pulls 3:10, so maybe we were wrong completely. Hitting late is the go and not early. Track temp's up to
39.7.
Track temp now up to 29 degrees. 29. It's nearly 10 degrees warmer than when we started.
Having said that, he did a 39.71. Breyer did a 40.05 and Leonard did a 40.09. So these three at the front certainly showing why they're at the front of the train. Trevor Leonard, he's up 18 spots in this race, so he's done a fantastic job to resurrect himself.
Yep, started
down the field.
Started P21 in this race. I'm getting a slowdown penalty, not clearing it. Race 1, having to serve a drive-through. Now he's well and truly in the fight for a podium to recover something from what could have been a horrible night. But he's well and truly in the mix for a podium now. Has 6.5 seconds back to John Akers, who we are 99% sure is in trouble with the stewards post-race for only changing 2 tyres. And now, will he have to come back in? he either comes back in now or gets a drive-through penalty or plus posted on his time post-race. So either way, he's going to get hurt. But if he comes in and does the pit stop for a second time, that's the lesser of the two evils.
Zomo looking to be the second driver to do a lockout so far this season. Oh, there's contact there on the switchback.
It's moved there from Richie Mayer.
Ridley, yeah, Mayer gets it done. Drag races on here. They should be able to close the door. Oh, there's a big lock up there, and they both push wide. Down into 17 and 18. And that has helped Jackson Pringle close up on the back of them here. So he'll have a good run down towards Adelaide if he can keep up the pace. But Mayer and Ridley just check out a little bit. So that not damaging them too much, even though they both did run wide.
Heartbreak for Franz Esteber. He's had a huge moment here. I think something's broken in the car when he's hit that curb. And it's fired him straight hard right. Now, we've seen every single car in the field bounce over that curb, be A-OK, but that one moment there, that's something different from everything else we've seen. That's unfortunate.
He hit it quite hard,
yeah, he did. But I don't think he's hit it any harder than anyone else.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's have another look at it there, but it was a big hit. There's two wheels up in the air for him. Could be on the landing as well. There's Howlett here trying to make himself known to Edwards in front. Cameron Edwards just trying to hold on to P12.
Another good recovery.
McMenamin and Macedo too.
Another driver with a really good recovery for the night, isn't it? Howlett, remembering where he was facing the wrong direction at Adelaide turn 5, lap 1. That's a bit deep. Almost makes contact with Cam Edwards.
Had to pull it up, lost some momentum there as well, so it gives Edwards some breathing room.
To do up the inside.
Macedo get the job done behind him, yeah. So McMenamin struggling a little bit as we head down towards the last phase of this race. For keeps now. Macedo just can't quite close it out. He'll get the advantage here through the last two turns, and has to relent there. McMenamin, to make sure he didn't get a slowdown or have to drive through there. Macedo used every bit of the curb that you could.
Get a slowdown, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's broken something. I can't say mechanical black flag, but he could have damaged the wheel or the suspension. Not sure exactly, but the car doesn't look right after that bounce off the curb then.
See if that plays out on the way down here. Is Howlett's still struggling to get past Edwards.
To do with a bit of a free kick too. Now we'll be able to start to fight rather than just get himself ahead of Howlett. Sorry, of McMenamin. He's now can start to make this move on Howlett, and Howlett will probably be a little bit more worried about Macedo behind him over McMenamin as well, knowing that Thiago Macedo back in the field from where you would think his pace should put him. He's had a bit of an unfortunate night. Big damage in the wall. Start of the race in our feature race in the main event.
Yeah, of course, qualifying up the front as well in race 1. He's struggling a little bit. Sort of been a little bit of the story for Macedo. He's able to get in and amongst it, but just not quite able to carry the luck through. As Howlett has a big look down the inside here on Edwards, not able to close that in. He wasn't far enough up, and that's made him vulnerable to Macedo. Behind him, Macedo can smell blood in the water. Wants to get 2 from 2 laps. As he's all over the back here. Again, exploring every part of the track that he can for the run through turn 1. We're on board now with Thiago Macedo. Just got to be careful here through this section. Off the throttle and then get back on it when the grip comes. A little touch there. He's in on the dirt too. And yeah, he loses that momentum that he would have wanted to keep on the run up towards Adelaide corner.
There's heaps of ground from that,
you're right about McMenamin too. McMenamin's gone in the background. He's had an incident.
Jameer just got past Kyle Ridley as well around the outside at the Adelaide hairpin. And as well, we also saw Mike Pepper get through on Jackson Pringle just ahead when we were watching there for Howlett and Edwards. This is literally just in front. That's...
Oh, way too deep.
Wow, you didn't even lock the brakes to try and pull that up.
No, just too deep. Braked a little too late. Able to almost pull it up.
3 laps to go.
Zomo now checked out. 3 seconds to the good.
Ben Brayer's not 100% sealed in second here.
No, he's a little vulnerable. The lap pace just dropping off from him a bit. He's just a tad under a 41 last time around, and Leonard's been, I've been keeping an eye on the lap times. Been extraordinarily consistent in those low 40s.
Back on
so
here.
Mazzomo, the same. Howlett, Edwards and Macedo. So can Macedo get it done this time, but he's now got the opportunity for the double if he can do it.
He's got to slow down, so you won't be able to get it done.
Buys Edwards some time. See if he can get past Howlett.
Will they get the run and momentum down the back straight? This is how the overtake happened, and we'll see in the background through this part there. There he goes.
Yeah, wow.
So not even close.
Not even a question about that one.
Has cleared the penalty, the slowdown penalty, without losing too much ground. I'll tell you what, how's the 11s coming out of the corner there at N5 at Adelaide? You just absolutely lit up the rears to ensure that there's 100% temperature in those tyres.
Just exposing some fresh rubber for the final of the race, the final part of the race.
Mayor Kyle Ridley still going at it as well.
Battles on right throughout the field here, even with just 2 minutes to go.
Mayor's just had that mistake there. Sorry, I was just distracted because I just saw Ben Brayer's had an issue at the final corner as well. So this is lap traffic. That's the car, the 93, Greg Levine. Just holding up Ben Brayer a little bit. That's just enough for him to now be within the pressure situation, as this is a pit lane drive-through penalty for Richard Mayer for exceeding the incident limit.
Yeah, wow. Not even something that you would think about, but easy enough to do. Curb hopping, you're going to cop a 4.
If he's done it, he won't be the only one close to it.
No, not at all. Also heard there that I think Brent Brayer was just asking for that incident that you showed to be investigated. He was a bit hard done by.
He definitely was hard done by, but I don't think there was any malice intent or anything that could result in a penalty. It's just bad luck with lap traffic, I think.
And it happens. A racing incident, that famous term.
I think you're going to say racing isn't easy. That would have been the statement.
It's not, and it's not fair. Never is. But Mazzomo, fair enough at the moment for him, as he will start the final lap of this race. 4.5 seconds to the good. No last lap dive needed.
How cool's Barney there with that new wave that he's got with the flag too?
He's getting right into it. I'm sure he's going to get RSI one day. He's a busy man, Barney.
We joked at a broadcast, I think it was 5-6 years ago, that Barney was going to tear a rotator cuff, but he still hasn't. So
no,
I think it was before Barney even was named Barney that we had that conversation on a broadcast. But still out there waving, still hasn't. He must have a good physio, a Seuss or something.
Better stuff. At some stage, I'm sure they'll give him a facelift.
Hopefully not his literal face, though.
No, absolutely not. Bionic arm or something like that. Cole Ridley here still under pressure from Mike Pepper.
Pepper's still unable to get through. He's tried for quite a few laps, but hasn't been able to make this move.
Tell you what, Thiago Macedo as well, right on the bumper of Cam Edwards, just behind these two. That has allowed Howlett to check out. He was under duress for a few laps there. So they won't die wondering here. So I think there's a lock-up up in front. Might be these two battling on. He had a look, wasn't able to get it done there. But back on here with our race leader, Simon Mazzomo. So he's just a few corners away from making it back-to-back here. Getting rid of that monkey off the shoulder, the bad luck. And Mazzomo goes through the final complex of corners to take the win here. And the round win as well. Very, very strong performance from him. Ben Bray is going to come home in second overall, and a great drive from Trevor Leonard to be back in P3, 18 spots up. Did he gain in this feature race to get it done?
Edwards is going to have to work hard to hold on to this spot. P12 right at the final corner. He may have just done enough just there. With that line that he's run through the corner, was able to slide a little bit, maintain momentum, force Masadou to get out of the throttle. I think Masadou is done. He may even be out of fuel, is Thiago Masadou. He's had to slow down a lot and will not catch on this last lap. Cam Edwards holds on for 12th. Masadou in 13th. Just seen Paul Brockback. He's out of fuel as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Not out, but very close.
Coasting a little. Down in 18th. Wondering how many laps does that mean? So they pitted on lap 12, so the fuel was marginal. Cam Edwards 13th lap he pitted. Same with Harry Dodd, so he's just missed out there. But a great race for race winner Simon Mazzomo. Back-to-back wins. Second person to do it inside 3 rounds. Takes the win and the round win as well. Ben Bray brings it home in second place. He had a good night. And Trevor Leonard, as we touched on, great feature race for him too. John Akers, potentially originally only in P4 at this point in time. Clint Harvey, P5 with Harry Dodds in 6th. Chase Hoy in 7th. Kyle Ridley in 8th. Mike Pepper in 9th. And Jackson Pringle rounding out our top 10 here in the feature race. Mike Howlett, good drive back from him in 11th with Cam Edwards in 12th. Thiago Macedo unable to get the job done there. Fuel an issue at the end in 13th. Jesse McMenamin 14th. Kurt Rose 15th. Regret some of the opportunities he had in front of him tonight. Ray Oliver 16th. Dean Hunt 17th. Then we've got Paul Brock back in 18th. Richard Mann 19th. And Greg Levine in 20th. Francis Estabio had a tough night tonight. 21st. Then TJ out early. 22nd with Barry Punter unable to get those technical issues he was having out the way. And again, same for Sam DeRua, who unfortunately missed out on the racing tonight.
Quick chat to our round winner, Simon Mazzomo. Congratulations, Mez. A very, very successful night for you.
Thank you very, very much. Bit surprised, but no, it's a pretty good result, I have to say. So thanks.
Great to get that monkey off your back. You were very, very disappointed at yourself in qualifying, but I guess it didn't mean anything in the end. You've ended up being able to sweep the round. I'm sure you're 100% shocked by that, but what's brought about the difference for you? Is it mentality? Is it just practice? Is it just something with the car? Is it just a bit of luck?
It's a few different things. Like, that qualify was, I was very annoyed with myself in qualifying because that should have been pole, but no, it's. I have to sort of thank the guys a bit. They've sort of thrown me at some different stuff. So I'm racing the supercar now of all things, but I've sort of had a bit of a mental hole for a while now, and just the pace hasn't been there, and I haven't been there. So they've sort of been poking me a bit, get me to do a few other things, and the confidence is sort of coming back. And tonight, just wasn't sure how I was going to go, but felt comfortable in the car. And then once I saw I sort of had the pace, it was just okay, you can do it. Just get yourself into a rhythm and go from there.
Well, congratulations, mate. We'll no doubt see you out trying to go 3 in a row next round at Fuji. Who would you like to thank?
Big thanks to obviously the guys at 95 Sim Sports, Racecraft. Turn in. I can't remember all the damn sponsors. Haven't had to do this for a while. One quick second, I'll quickly find them. There they are. But obviously, big thanks to them, the team, and everything else for all their help. Racecraft, Turn In Race Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ease, Cutting Edge Tracks, and thanks all those guys for their support.
Congrats, mate. Well done. Great effort. Stu, I believe you've wandered down pit lane. Who have you bumped into?
I haven't bumped into anyone just yet. Where am I going?
Caught you off guard.
You have caught me off guard.
I'll drag Ben Breyer up for you.
If you can, that'd be great. I've got the stream open that I'm watching, so I can't actually see who's waiting in the booth. But we've got Ben Breyer joining us. Ben, great job tonight. A tough race, obviously, with Simon all over you there into that final chicane on race 1, but giving him room, and race 2 just not quite able to keep him.
Yeah, no, it was good battle with Simon. Probably should have closed the door on him, but I left it open. He went for it, so it's just how it is, really. It's racing, but towards the end, I was doing a bit of lifting coast. I was kind of running out of fuel, I thought, so probably could have got a little bit closer, but I don't think I would have got him really quick tonight. So yeah, well done, Simon.
You drove a strong race overall, and obviously it's good for consolidation of your position in the championship standings. You'll head out of tonight on top of things. So heading into Fuji next week, what are your thoughts heading there in the Cup Car?
I'm being honest, I haven't really done any laps at Fuji, so yeah, I'll do some practice, see how I go. Should be alright, I guess. Hopefully, I don't know.
So a busy week ahead for you then in terms of practicing.
Yeah, probably get a few hours in, but we'll see.
Well, it was still a good, solid drive for you tonight, a good bank of points in the third round of the championship. I'm assuming there'll be some people you'd want to thank.
Yeah, thanks to Racecraft Simulations for sponsoring us, and to my parents as well. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks a lot.
No worries, Ben Bray there taking out a strong second place. And Trevor Leonard joins us now in the booth. Trevor, a great resurrection race for you there in race 3.
Yeah, bit of a shocker in race 1, but yeah, just tried to keep my head down and push through to try and get a good result in the feature race.
We were remarking at the consistency of your lap times there, particularly towards the end. There were hundreds between them, lap after lap after lap, which helped you. We thought you might get an opportunity on Ben there. You got a little bit unlucky with some lap traffic, but just not quite able to close the gap. A P3 for you after a strong feature race last week, mate. You must be feeling pretty good with where things are headed.
Yeah. I think even if I got close to Ben, I probably wouldn't have battled with him. It's just not worth it in case we make a mistake and take each other out. But no, feeling good. It's a shame some of the other guys couldn't make it due to the schedule clashes. But no, it's looking to be a good series. It's getting close.
Yeah, absolutely. And the round next week heads to Fuji. Have you got spent much time there at all?
Not since Gran Turismo 4, so no, this will be completely new to me.
You're barking up the right tree there in terms of Gran Turismo fans. The conclusion there, mate, just anyone you want to say thanks to or hello to?
Thanks to the viewers who've stopped by on my Twitch channel. If I can give a shout out, it's TREPHFA, so Trevor. Come find me on Twitch, come hang out. Of course, you guys, the commentators, the race control, and yeah, all the series sponsors, and of course to John at Racecraft for giving us a hand with everything in the sim racing world. But yeah, no, thank you all.
Fantastic there, and yeah, John does a good thing. I mentioned, of course, the next round at Fuji. We get to see a fantastic picture there with Mount Fuji in the background. Southern Cross ESports Winter Series Round 4 Fuji Speedway next week, so we don't have a usual fortnight apart as we had to drop this round in. So coverage from 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, or if you're on the other side of Australia, 6:30 in the evening next Wednesday night. And it would be remiss, Jay, of me not to say thanks to V8 Drive Day in Perth for their ongoing support of this series, VRace Experience, Word of Mouth Signs, and PPD Performance 4x4 as well. As we head on out the door, anything to add?
Oh, it's been a fantastic night of racing. Big thanks again to all the drivers for putting on a great show. And Magny Cours proved tonight that you can race hard, race fair, race clean. It's been a very, very entertaining night. And as we said, we'll be back next week to do it all once again. I'm sure you'll have a ball next week without me, Stu, it'll be a great night of racing at Fuji here on SimSpeed. Make sure you do subscribe to us on all of our social platforms here on YouTube, Facebook, and on Kick. We are at SimSpeed TV and at SimSpeed Esports on those platforms, as well as on Twitter as well. Make sure you join us for all of our racing over the weekend as well. Until next time, from myself, Jay Kennedy, and Stu Brown, we will see you in a week's time at Fuji.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.